I'm sure you know my views on this matter. Yesterday I had the opportunity in Parliament to go on the record to register my opposition to the project, and I did request that the Honourable Majority Leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs should brief us, because as we speak, as a member of Parliament, I don't know anything about this project, the background, the rationale, what mischief we are trying to cure, the cost, whether there has been procurement processes followed and all of that. Everything about this project is emanating from the media. We are hearing it from the media. And members of Parliament are not happy about how we have been treated, because we have become
the majority leaders apologize for that.
We've become the object of attack out there, suffering opprobrium. Our primaries are around the corner. Already the University of Ghana research said majority will not fare well, and then this whole matter has come to. But even beyond, personal survival, which is just on a lighter note, the more substantive issue is that we ought to really look at our processes, follow due process, and respect the laws, especially as we are lawmakers. If you read the 19th June letter, which is now in the public domain, the letter inviting the president to a sword cutting the last week of June, there are all kinds of processes here that ought to have been concluded even before you carry out a sword cutting. And before you come to this point, it will mean that you have the approval of the executive, because Parliament as an institution, we don't raise money. We don't raise money. And the Constitution is very clear. That is why even when it comes to private members' bills, we don't have a history of that. We've not even had one, because the Constitution, Article 108, if my memory serves me right, bars Parliament from proceeding to do anything that would be a charge on the executive. Article 108, Parliament shall not, unless the bill is introduced or the motion is introduced by or on behalf of the President, A, proceed upon a bill including an amendment to a bill that, in the opinion of the person presiding, makes provision for any of the following: 1, the imposition of taxation or the alteration of taxation otherwise done by reduction, or the imposition of a charge on the consolidated fund or other public funds of Ghana, or the alteration of any such charge otherwise done by reduction. Then Article 179 is also clear that Parliament cannot. And so we have been wondering, who are those who discuss this, and how come the Right Honourable Speaker is saying that there is goodwill, to use his words, that there is goodwill. The President approves, those are his words, and that he will be cutting the sword personally. And if you look at the June 19th letter, the first paragraph, it says, I respectfully refer to the above and inform that the Parliamentary Service plans to undertake a sword cutting ceremony regarding the construction of a new ultramodern chamber complex within Parliament House. This is further to our briefings regarding same. So once again, the information minister's earlier, position that the executive had no idea, absolutely no knowledge, and that this is a matter in the purview of the legislature. Clearly, the Speaker's letter does not, support or sustain that position. But something, there is the body called the Parliamentary Service Board. And from the Speaker's letter, it's clear that the Parliamentary Service Board has discussed this matter. Now, the board is a 7-member board. You have the majority leader, minority leader in there. It's chaired by the Speaker. You have a former member of Parliament. That really is not in the law, but it's become a convention since, and it's Speaker D.F. Annan, who introduced that convention when he went for the Honorable Hyde, who was chairman of the Finance Committee under Liman. So since then, you know, the Right Honorable Peter Lajete also continued, and Bamford Addo. So that has become the current former MP on the Parliamentary Service Board is the Honorable Hakman Owusu-Agyemang. So that tradition has been going on. And then a female member of Parliament, you know, also serves on this. So it's a 7-member board with the clerk. Now,
but it's backed by law, you mean the board?
The board, oh yes, the board, yes. I'm just talking about the
membership.
The composition, yes. So it does appear that it's been discussed, but yesterday on the floor of the House, when I raised the matter, the Honorable Minority Leader set the record straight that even at the level of the Parliamentary Service Board, the discussions were not conclusive, that he had raised issues about the cost, he had raised issues about value for money, about why they were not following the procurement processes and all of that. And those matters had not been resolved. So he was surprised. He says he was invited to a meeting by the Speaker to consider designs. They did not know. Then the Majority Leader also confirmed that they did not know that this was a press event. It was not a Parliamentary Service Board meeting, stricto sensu, and that it was rather a larger media event.
It was an announcement
where the design, yes,
that we are ready for takeoff.
So now we are asking. You know, on the entity tender committee, the members of Parliament are represented. Our rep on the committee is the Honorable Kwame Agboja because of his professional background as an architect. Kwame Agboja says that since they were inaugurated last year, they have not met. They have not looked at this matter. So we are asking, even with the design, how did we procure Sir David Ajay to carry out the design? Is he working gratis? Is he for free? Or, I mean, so the whole thing is shrouded in a lot of secrecy.
The fact that
and it's worrying
the fact that Parliament had already set aside 72 million from its budget for the project, he didn't know all of this.
That 72 million, I have checked, it's not for this project. Yes, if you the descriptions, I've gone through the reports in Parliament during the appropriation and all of that. It's not for a new chamber. We are doing, you know, the Job 600, when it was commissioned, it's for the capacity is 252 offices, but members of Parliament are 275. So there's an expansion currently going on to cater for the additional 23. So because of that, when it was commissioned in 2012, those of us who were deputy ministers and members of Parliament were asked to sacrifice. So I didn't have an office in the 6th Parliament.
Those are very beautiful offices.
Yes, yes. So I only got to use one now. So that 72 million, if you look at the appropriation bill and the explanation, it is not for a new project. Else we would have known as members of Parliament when we were going through the approval processes. So it is not clear if the 17th July, you know, the media review will take place on it will be read by the Finance Minister on the 17th of July. It's not clear if that is the allocation that the Speaker is speaking to, because you remember that in the 3rd paragraph of this letter, the Speaker writes that the Minister for Finance has dutifully given budgetary allocation. Unfortunately for us, the letter does not state which year, you know, which budget, or is it happening already, or it's a promise of an allocation, probably with the media review, or for the 2020 budget. You know, so that's why we need to be briefed, especially when, if you read a lot of the statements out there.
But when the Majority Leader was explaining and apologizing to you for the communication gap, he spoke about the attempts to get the Chinese when they came over and to get them to assist to give them money, and spoke about the fact
the Indians as well.
All of this is in the incubation, you know, stage. But when you listen to the designer, we are not in incubation stage.
Yes, exactly.
And when you hear the speaker also write, they're actually inviting the president to cut the sword.
To cut the sword, so, you know, so there's a certain haste, and it's
even the insert you play, the way he was speaking, they had gone through some processes. tender and all that. So which presupposes that there's been some formal activity.
And you know something?
Why are you against it? Why are you against it?
I'll come to that in a minute. In preparing for this program, I also called former board members of the SY Parliamentary Service Board to check if this matter had been discussed, especially in the light of the President Mahama State of the Nation address video that has gone viral. That was a 2013 State of the Nation address. And President Mahama talks about feasibility. And what's a feasibility studies? Feasibility studies, you have only one outcome. Yes, do it. No, don't do it. That's a feasibility.
Do you have a copy of the report?
I'm told it was not done, that there was the feasibility. That's what I've been informed. And I'm told by the former members of the Parliamentary Service Board that this matter was not discussed. It was not discussed, and not in the Bamford Addo era, not in the Right Honorable Doa Jaho era. You know, and you can check. They are, most of them are alive. Wow. You can call them. You know, I have done that. Now I am opposed to this because, look, it's not been long that the chamber was refurbished at huge cost, about 16 million cedis, increased to 275 seating capacity. I have also said that we need a cap as a country on the number of MPs. It's not just about quantity. We should be looking at quality, and we should be cutting down the bureaucracy. There's so much wastage. When
so you think so really that, you know, as it were, expanding it to be able to contain 450 is to tell you that we intend to increase the number to 240, 450.
Exactly. And those of us who have been campaigning for a cap against this, you know, continuous ballooning and expansion, large bureaucracy, it doesn't help. We don't need that. Then Job 600 was commissioned not too long ago, 2012. Expansion works are going on to cater for all members of parliament. So I said that, look, if we have found some resources and we want to spend on parliament, there are even other areas that we can be looking at. Not with this project. And remember, not too long ago, the speaker had also hinted at a hotel for parliament. You know, some of us wondered why. You know, why do we want to do? So there's a certain agenda for prestige projects. You remember that was an accusation against.
Thank you.